What is it like being a Jamaican on the Bastimentos Island in Panama? Hi, I'm Xavier Murphy, the founder of Jamaicans.com, and today in Jamaicans to the World, I talk to Melanie Myers, a Jamaican living in Basti, as they say. How are you, Melanie?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you, Xavier?
I'm doing good. Hopefully, I got the first pronunciation of the island correct.
You did. You did. Bastimentos, yes. Bastimentos actually means uh, supplies, because that's where Christopher Columbus came to, you know, um, supply his ships, because there's so many fruits and vegetables on the island.
Wow.
There used to be a lot. Yep.
Well, we're going to dive into it in a minute, but let's first find out which part of Jamaica are you originally from?
Well, I'm a Kingstonian, so grew up in Drumblair off Upper Waterloo Road my whole life. I went to St. Andrew High School for girls.
Oh, you're
Yes.
my sister.
Okay. All right, bro. And
I went to Jamaica College, St.
okay,
Andrew, my
JC.
sister school.
Fantastic. So I grew up there until I was 19 years old, and
Okay,
then I migrated. Yes.
all right. Now, tell us the story of how you ended up living in Basti.
Uh, well, I retired from my job in like June of 2017. And at the time, my son was about 19 years old. And I was, well, basically, he was already raised. So I was a single person at the time, still am. And I guess I was mothering him too much. And one day he said to me, "Mom, I don't mean to hurt you, but you need to get a life." So I said, "Okay." So I started looking around. I looked at Costa Rica, Belize, Panama, and I said, "Well, Panama has some good opportunities. Let me go take a visit." And I also had met this Panamanian woman online. We both shared the same financial consultant. And when I shared with the consultant that I was thinking about Panama, he says, "Oh, I have a client and I'll put you in touch with her." And he did. And we became fast friends. So 2 years later, I'm here in Basti. She actually brought me here and introduced me to everybody that she knew, and so it was a very easy transition.
Wow. Wow. So, no, I mean, we're talking, Panama is okay, you have the mainland, that the island, when you got to the island, what was your thoughts? Because it's probably not the typical place where people will be moving to in Panama.
Okay. Well, I it was love at first sight, really. I We took the 10-hour bus ride over from Panama City to the last point on the mainland, which is Almirante, and then we took a boat for 30 minutes to get to Isla Colon, which is the largest island around here on the Caribbean side. And as I was approaching Isla Colon, and then an hour or so later, as I was approaching Bastimentos, because you have to take another water taxi, 7-minute ride to get to Basti. The sun gleaming on the water, these little houses, perched along the shoreline. I just thought, oh my God, I've landed in paradise. This is just, where am I? I mean, the lush vegetation, the palm trees, the breadfruit trees, the lime trees, the mango trees. I'm like, where is this? This is just like a little corner of heaven. And I
Wow.
just, wow, okay. So, yeah, I stayed for a week and then, came
I
back.
know
So
you're there.
yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the people on Basti. What are the people like? And also, as a second part to that,
Mhm.
are there any remnants of Jamaican heritage, ancestry, and Jamaican things?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And that was one of the attractions for me, because the people on Bastimentos speak English well. They speak Guari Guari, which is like a version of Jamaican patois. So
Oh,
I can actually understand about 85% of what they're saying. It's mixed in with some indigenous Indian words and some Spanish, and then their own Spanish accent. But they are very, very Jamaican. The black people here are very, very Jamaican. I mean, they curse like sailors. I never heard more, you know, Jamaican curse words than I did
oh,
until I came here. Until
you're
I
saying
came
they're
here.
using Jamaican bad
They're
words?
using Jamaican bad words. You better believe it. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So when I came, I was like, where I feel very Jamaican. They're very friendly. They are they're you know how shall I put it? It's a tourist based community, so they're into taking people on tours, and from that perspective, it's very transactional, you know and but they are, once they accept you, once they get to know you,
Right.
you're like a part of the community. And the thing I like is that you can have your privacy, but at the same time, if they don't see you for a while, like, I haven't seen Melanie for a while, they remember your name. uh, Everybody says good morning, how you doing. A funny expression that they use, when I would say hi, how you doing, the response I get is right here, right here. you know so they're cool, they're cool people.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice. No, you mentioned it's a tourist-based economy. I believe that you do some type of tourist, not tourist work, but is it an Airbnb you have? Um,
Mhm. I
what,
have a small, well, okay. I built a home here in 2019, in 4 months, and that was another exciting adventure. But finished in December 2019, and then the pandemic hit, and I left for a year, and I came back in 2021, and basically spent that whole year getting the property ready to go on the market as an Airbnb. It's just two
okay,
bedrooms, two bathrooms, and it's a really charming location in front of the ocean,
nice.
and with a backdrop of the jungle behind me.
Okay.
So, um,
What's the
uh,
name? What's the
oh, it's
name if
called
somebody wants to
Birdsong
search it?
Birdsong Villa,
Okay,
Birdsong Villa, or you can look on the charming seafront villa in
okay,
Bastimentos.
okay. All right, bird song. No, I want to go back to the people a little bit. So when people find out that you are Jamaican, full blood Jamaican, what are the typical questions? What are the typical reactions?
Typical reactions are, "Oh my gosh, you're a Jamaican, Bob Marley." Okay, Bob Marley, and yes, and then some of them might say, "Well, you have some good weed there." I'm like, "Okay, I must be the only person on the island who doesn't smoke." But anyway, they're very curious, and then they will start telling me, "Yes, my great grandmother or my great grandfather is from Jamaica." And that is how they know the food. They eat, the rice and peas, stew chicken, um, ackee and saltfish. Um, some things they
Wait, wait, Aki and
ackee,
saltfish.
Yes, but it's very rare because I don't know, all the trees here seem to have died out. They're very, very scarce here on Bastimentos. Over on Isla Colon, they have more of them. But yes, they are raised with that Jamaican upbringing, from their great
Mm,
grandparents, and they came here to work on the banana plantations over in Almirante.
mhm.
They, yeah,
Nice,
so
nice. So music, is it reggae? Is it, what's the
it's
music you hear if
the
I
music.
I
Okay,
walk
this
walk along the
this is
street?
this is an island of music. Oh my gosh, you hear Spanish music, you hear reggaeton, you hear reggae, you hear calypso, you hear soca, you hear um, rap, you hear classical wafting through the trees, and sometimes on the main path, all competing for your attention, all at the same time. It's loud.
Uh,
Yes.
it sounds, I always say this about Jamaica. When you get to Jamaica, and depending on where you are, there's a music, and there's
Mhm.
always something going on, and that brings such an energy,
Oh, yeah.
and it sounds like that's similar there.
Yes, there is a lot of energy here, a lot of energy. The people there are a lot of young people here and a lot of children. The population of Bastimentos is roughly about, I would say, maybe just under 3,000. And we have a good mix of expats living here too, who have lived here for, 10, 15, 20 years.
Mm.
Argentinians, British people, German people, Americans. Um, that's
And is
mostly
it
some
and
Canadians. Yeah. Mhm.
and does the expat community have like an association, or do they kind of
They
get
do things.
together?
Yes, they do get involved. Either they have their own businesses, Airbnbs, or they get involved with like there are a lot of dogs around, so they get involved in spading the dogs and taking care of them, and they raise funds for education for the schools. They
Mm.
collect clothing. They do clothing drives, toy drives. Um, they are very helpful, in terms of what they can do to give back to the community. Yeah,
Nice, nice.
yeah.
Now we talked a little bit about the food. You said there's Jamaican food. What is another dish that you found there on Basta that you like?
Okay, their salsa chicken, the red
Mhm.
sauce is delicious. They can cook some chicken here. It is really uh, juicy, tender, flavorful. They have coconut rice and stew peas. They call it porotos. It's like the red beans. That's the red beans, stew peas.
Mm.
And uh, they do red snapper, fried fish.
Okay.
Delicious, delicious. Yes.
So so curious, do they when they fry it, do they make the escovitch
They
and
do the
or
escabeche as well, or they just do it fried. Yes, yes. Oh my, they can do some good escabeche fish. I had some yesterday, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
nice,
Yeah.
nice. Now, what's the cost of living like on Bastamento?
Okay. Being an island, everything has to be imported
Mm.
from the mainland. And really, honestly, since the pandemic, as everywhere else in the world, the prices went up and they stayed up. They did not go back down. So um,
Mm.
on Basti, we don't have any. I forgot to mention, we don't have any cars. We don't have any large supermarkets. We have three mini supermarkets. Two of them are Chinese owned, and one is owned by Vecino. We call him. He's a local Panamanian, and they carry basic things that they have to bring over from the mainland. The
Right.
prices are not astronomical, but they were cheaper 2 3 years ago. By
Mm.
about 35% cheaper they were.
Mm, I
And
see.
so, I mean, things like flour and sugar and oil, butter have gone up a lot. You know,
Okay.
these are staples. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. So in comparison to the mainland, would you say prices are a little higher?
No, they are about 35% higher, 35 to
Wow.
40% higher. Yes, yes, yes.
Wow.
Because they also have to pay the transportation to get it across by boat. So
Right.
they have to do that back and forth. And they have to pay somebody to get it, I guess, to bring it over and to transport it to the final destination. So, and then they have to make their profit on top of it. So, yeah,
Okay.
you know,
Um,
they're hurting. You know, the locals are hurting. Yeah.
I see. No, a quick question in terms of back to kind of like people.
Hmm.
Is there any local customs that you found when you got there that you said, this is interesting? I know one of them you just kind of mentioned where you said, how are you? And people say like, right here.
Right here, right here.
But any other local customs or anything that they did that you found interesting?
Well, interesting. I had heard about it, but they do have cockfights.
Oh,
Yes, yes, they do, and uh, sometimes they even catch and eat iguanas.
okay. You have
Okay.
uh,
Yes, and
so let's stop at that one for a minute. Have you tried iguana?
no, no, thank you, no, thank you, no,
Are you willing to even try a little piece of it?
no. I saw a guy scaling one, and no, thank you, no, thank you, no. Yeah.
I hear it tastes like chicken.
I hear so too, but it's okay. I'll stick with the
And
chicken.
I hear it's a rich meat because the iguanas are vegetarians. They're here in Florida. And and so I I am willing to attempt to try a piece of it. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I am willing.
Maybe if I hadn't seen it being cut up or scaled, or I might, but no. Uh,
Oh.
mm.
No,
Other
what
customs.
I think
Oh, they have Basti Day, which is November 23rd, if I'm not mistaken, and they really celebrate their culture and their heritage, and they have actually a maypole dance, and they're dressed up. Well, they actually meld the Spanish and the African cultures together. So um, they dance and they have a parade that goes the whole length of the island, and they practice for months in advance, and they have drummers and baton twirlers, and it's really nice. They go all out, and they offer food, and it's a big celebration. So
how
that's good.
nice. How long does it take you to get from one end of the island to the other?
Well, Bastimentos is the largest island, and the eastern part of the island is actually a national park, and it's forested with mangroves and that in the middle. So parts of it you are not walkable. I
Okay.
would say I've never done it, but I know people who have, and I would say it would take a probably a whole day. I mean, 20 hours or something, 15 hours to walk. Because it's kind of difficult terrain in certain parts, but
Okay.
maybe not that long. Maybe 10 hours. 10,
Okay.
yeah, 10 hours. Most of the population is centered around Old Bank, which is the capital of Bastimentos, and
Mm,
that's where the park is, the Junta Comunal, the Aero Naval, because we don't have a police force or police presence. We have
mm.
aeronaval, and their um, responsibilities to look for drugs, you know, because of where we're located in the
Right.
Caribbean. And there are
Mm.
365 islands around this area.
Wow.
There's a lot of opportunity for, uh, drug
Activities.
activities. Exactly. So that's what they are here on the island for. But they walk up and down, and they're a presence, and it makes people feel,
Safe.
somewhat safe. Yeah, the crime on the island is very, very low, very low.
Okay. Okay.
It's petty thefts, crimes
Right.
of opportunity. You leave your camera on the beach, while you're swimming, and there's nobody watching it.
Mm.
Well, they're watching you, so
It's gone.
it's gone. That kind of thing. But
Okay.
there's no
So
violent crime.
let me ask you if there was one place or thing to do on the island. If I was to visit, you said, Xavier, you have to go see this if you come here. Or it may be you say to me, Xavier, you have to come this time of the year to see this. What would that thing, attraction, or event be?
Um, well, if you're a surfer, um, this area is a surfing mecca. February is the time to come. People from all over the world come to Bocas for surfing competition. The waves, I understand, can be as high as 15 feet. So
Mm.
they're quite spectacular. Um, they used to say they're 2 seasons in Panama, or 2 seasons in this area, summer and summer. So it's hot. It's hot all the time. It's a bit rainy from October, November, December. But this year we actually had a drought for a good
Mm.
month and a half, and that was a little bit unsettling. But as far as the attractions, I would say something is always going on.
Okay.
From November right through to December, they have a lot of holidays in
Mm.
Panamanian holidays. So you know, uh, fireworks and
On the island, fireworks
on,
on the island.
on
Wow.
the island, and over in Isla Colon, the other island.
Right.
Excuse me. Uh, they have a chocolate competition. They have all kinds of. They have bands. They have live
Wow.
bands that come. You can take catamaran rides. You can go to the beaches. Out the beach, the most beautiful beaches are not on Bastimentos. They are
Mm.
out Polo Beach and Zapatilla and Cayo Coral and um, Cusapin a little bit further out, and then uh, Red Frog is on Bastimentos. That's also a very beautiful beach too, on the other
Right.
side of Old Bank. Um,
So let me ask you this. You mentioned there's a parade. Do they also have a carnival?
yes, yes, and it's in February also. So it had been canceled, due to the pandemic the last couple of years. People weren't allowed to congregate. So I understand this year it's on. It's on again,
Okay.
and I'm looking forward to it.
And it's a Caribbean style carnival.
Yes, yes, and they have these red devils that have horns, and they dance around like the Jonkunu, but they're red devils, and they are dressed in red, and they have a tail, and they, they prance around the street.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
So
and people
jump
dress
could
up
in another
in
form.
another form. Yes, yes.
Wow. So listen, Melanie, I appreciate all the time you've taken to kind of give us a little insight on Bastimentos. And I'm winding down. So here is a question I have. You land in Jamaica.
Hmm.
You get off the plane.
Hmm.
What is that first thing you're doing? Whether it be I'm going here to get this to eat, whether it be I'm going to this particular location to get the view, what is that first thing you're doing?
I want to get a tasty patty. That is the first thing I want to get, a patty. Oh my gosh, I miss that so much. And then, of course, I would love to have some oxtail.
Okay.
Love to have some oxtail, and I would love to go out to well, where in Kingston? In Kingston, I've landed in Kingston, you say, or landed
Yes.
in Montego Bay? In
Yeah.
Kingston, okay. I would like to go to Port Royal and go
Okay.
and sit out there at Gloria's and have some fish. Yes,
Popular spot,
very
Gloria's.
yes, yes, yes.
So here is typically how I end. How do the folks there say goodbye in an informal way? So Jamaicans will say little more,
Or more
or
time, more time,
so what they say?
more time. In Jamaica, they say more time, more time.
More, yeah, right. We have our little informal ways. What do the Basti? I don't know if I can say Bastis.
Basti, yeah. What do the Bastimenteños, Bastis people say? All right then, take care. Take care. All right then.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, Melanie, thank you, thank you, thank you again. And as they say in Basti, take care.
All right. My pleasure. Thank you, Xavier. Bye-bye.
Show some love now. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss a video.